Hello and welcome to the Dweebz in Japanese podcast. I am one of your hosts, Patrick.
And I am also one of your hosts, a robot. Just kidding.
A robot.
It's Khalil again.
Why does everybody do the arms? Everybody, including me. I am a robot. Okay.
I'm running really fast.
Running super fast. Gotta get those aerodynamics. We just watched Dark in the Black episode 10, which was interesting. I remarked how it was one of my favorite episodes, and the previous episode was kind of connected. So I like when they connect those episodes. You're kind of waiting for the next continuation of the story, rather than like the episodic 20 minutes of the entire story.
Mm-hmm.
Those are kind of a little bit too rushed. I feel like it needs to be stretched out. So it was good. It's more memorable too when they're spread off across multiple episodes because you're able to get like more deep in the story.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about it?
Agreed. I liked it. I got a little lost at the end though, but had some action, some drama.
Yeah, we're at the end when she was like talking with her friend on the bench. I forgot her friend's name.
Me too. Yeah. When the other contractor was standing over, like I didn't catch why he killed that girl, Misaki's friend. He was like standing over them talking, and I was like, "What are you saying, man?"
Killing the other. Oh, because basically he's weird. Like from what I understand, he's like a contractor and he's just evil. But she was reliant on her parents, and but her parents were like bad people, right? Like, especially her dad was kind of like in the mob or whatever, and then she the Kirihara became a cop, and so basically it was like that type of conflict of interest type of thing. Like, oh, my parents are in this, but my best friend became somebody who's going to like take down my family.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that kind of tension. And so he was saying that you didn't even realize that your best friend's family was like tied up in all of this, basically.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. He's weird though.
He's just being mean.
He's just being a contractor. All the contractors are weird. Like they don't really have too many solid morals and everything. Like they have ideas of why they do what they do, but they all just like kill people kind of indiscriminately. So
yeah, I just thought it somewhat surprising because he was like her bodyguard or whatever for a long time. Well, yeah, it started as like a bodyguard.
Oh, right, because she was a bodyguard yeah, exactly. That's really creepy. How old is he?
It is creepy. Yeah.
He isn't. He's like thousands of years old. He's dead now. All right, so I hope that they continue doing those episodes because that was fun and interesting. But it would be kind of cool to have like a more basically one season of one story.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I think that happens in the second season. I'm not sure. When I say second season, I think it's just all like straight episodes. But I feel like in my head it was I don't know.
Yeah, in my head it was that way too, but I don't know. It's been a while.
That's the thing about having like all the files in your computer. They're just like 1 through 24 or whatever, 1 through 26. So they just look all looks connected. Doesn't really say what season it is. So.
That's true.
All right, Khalil, recent news about your Japanese study. Anything to remark about?
Yeah, catching more words has been cool. Learning all that kanji. It's worth it, man.
In those games, it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
You'd hope so.
1 second.
You'd hope so.
Sorry.
No worries.
All right. There might be a noise in the background, but hopefully you won't hear it.
No worries. Yeah, it was. Did you mute yourself or something like that? Because you took your headphones off. I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, I muted myself.
Oh, okay.
As I took them off.
I see. Okay.
To get that. See how is that? Is that okay? You hear anything?
No, not at all.
Perfect.
Just like a couple clinking. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's all good.
Sweet. Yeah. So anyway, like for example, I finally learned all the kanji in, and I remember we talked about this a very long time ago. It was when I was watching Hoseki no Kuni, The Land
Okay,
of the
yeah.
Lustrous in English, and I finally know all the kanji for that.
Mm,
And I finally, because I have a poster of it on my wall with the kanji on there.
yeah.
It's just really
Okay.
cool.
That's really sweet.
It's cool
Yeah.
being able to finally understand, because I remember you told me what it meant before,
Yeah.
but yeah, now I see it. It's neat. And then picking out little words here and there, seeing like tweets and stuff.
Yeah. 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 That's just neat about Wanikani and just learning kanji in general is that um yeah, I mean it's like being able to finally start reading the language. Which in other languages it's especially like Latin based alphabets and stuff, it's I mean given like Spanish, for example, you can read it.
Hmm.
It's really just about learning the grammar and everything else. So it's a lot easier for us to start with.
Yeah.
But kanji is in other writing systems like it. It's just about memorizing. It's just a lot. Sorry about that. There's a lot of memorizing characters, and so it's kind of like a lifelong
Hmm.
thing. It doesn't really end, which is hard to get your head around in the beginning because you're like the native speakers don't even know their own alphabet, quote unquote.
Yeah.
In reality, at least in Japanese, they do because it's kana, right? But the
Hmm.
kanji is also used, so it's kind of complicated. But Chinese is, I think, even harder because it's just only characters.
Yeah.
There's no other
It's
way
so dense.
they write their language. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot trickier for sure.
Yeah. And what about you? What's new with you and your haircut?
My new haircut. So yeah, I got a haircut, and then Judy wanted to cut it really short, so I let her do that.
Nice.
She wanted to try it, so and I joke that I am either military or I
Oh
am
my God.
a yaku no otokonoko. I am a
Yucky.
Japanese baseball player kid
Hmm.
with the short hair. So
I get you a
yeah, it's
cap.
actually it's nice. It doesn't look super great, but it feels nice because it's just really hot over here. So
Oh yeah, having short hair when it's hot out is perfect.
yeah, I like that for that reason and that reason alone. Yeah, I had. Oh, so I put in my notes that I've been reading. You know that book, Psychopath.
Psychopath.
Yeah,
Psychopath. Oh,
Psychopath.
it's in katakana.
Yeah,
Oh.
yes, and well, you know, in Japanese, psychopath they say psychopath. But what's funny is that the
Oh.
Romaji is actually psycho and then pass, not
Oh.
psychopath. Well, I don't know why. Maybe that's just because they made the mistake because no English speaker is going to read this book. But it is good. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. It feels like 1984, George Orwell's 1984 in the beginning, basically. Just like
Mm-hmm.
setting up the scene for, everybody's spied upon. And there's like these drones, quote unquote, that are like holographic people. And they're drones. So not like a typical drone, like a flying little helicopter.
Yeah.
A drone is a nickname for a person who's a hologram, but they're like basically cops or whatever. They're going around patrolling the city. So
Okay.
nobody, yeah. From what I understand, like they look like humans. They take on the image of a human, but they like basically are just like monitoring everything. It's interesting. I've only read, like 20 something pages. But I put in my notes that it's hard to, I know I was talking about how building habits, even if they're only for a couple of minutes a day, is helpful. And that's still true. But I think for books, like if you're reading a novel, 10 minutes is really, really short. And because it's only 10 minutes and I'm doing it before bed, I feel like if I'm tired, I'm just going to, skip it. So I want to make it easy or hard for me to skip it. Like easy for me to do it, basically, if I reverse the way I said that. So I think I'm going to change my habit there to try to do it every other day, because realistically I'm not even doing it every day, because I just I get back really late, or I'll be up super late like the other day, and then just want to go straight to bed. I can't even like read the characters on the page because I'm so tired. So I think I'm gonna change it a little bit and maybe do it every other day, like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays or something like that, or maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays
Still
only.
scheduled.
Yeah, but still schedule it for myself, and then be like, okay, at 7, I go to bed at 8, so over here, which is 11 Pacific time. So like 7, basically an hour before I go to bed, I'm gonna go ahead and read 30 minutes, like make it 3 times as much, but I'll be able to actually get into the story and make that like a thing.
Yeah.
Like twice a week, I'm gonna go read this book. And what's kind of nice about that is that it gives me a little bit of flexibility too, because I kind of want to read. There's some other books I have queued up that I really want to read. In reality, like if I was really serious about reading this book as sort of like my lesson, which I'm not, I'm just reading it for fun. Right now I'm reading my real estate books, and I have like my book on my Kindle, and then I have my notebook here that I do every single morning on weekdays. And I do that for about 30 minutes. And so I'm making really, really good progress on that. I've already read 2 books, and
nice.
That's fine. But if I did the same thing for Japanese, like if you weren't reading another book like me, and if you wanted to do it for Japanese, I would actually do it in the morning versus like before work or whatever, before everything, before school, because for me, at least, it like sets the tone, and I get it out of the way in the beginning, like in the beginning of the day. And that way at the end of the day when I'm tired and like whatever, and I'm like, I just don't want to do it.
Push yourself even further.
Yeah, especially for like study or things that are a little bit harder than normal. I think that in the morning there's like more focus and more intention. Like the night before you go to bed, you're thinking, okay, in the morning I'm going to do this. Like you make that intention, and then you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm just doing it. But they get it out of the way. Even if it was only 10 minutes, like if I was doing this every single day for 10 minutes in the morning and reading my book, I think it would be more enjoyable than reading it before bed, just because I'm so tired before bed. So just like knowing how your weakness is, like my weakness is that I'm just so tired and I want to go to bed.
Yeah, I'm similar to that.
Okay, yeah, versus reading, I'd rather just go to sleep, because like 10 minutes is 10 minutes. Like I'm not really going to get that far anyways. Sometimes I do read, but every time I read it, I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I want to make a little bit more time for it. And that's all that matters, right? But it's going very slowly. Like Judy keeps telling me too, like, you're spending like 5 or 10 minutes reading this thing. You aren't really getting that far, which is understandable. But, again, slowly but surely we'll win the race.
Yeah, we'll win the beef or whatever.
We'll win the beef is what I said last week. But so, yes, I will finish the book if I continue that. But I feel like I would enjoy it more if I spent a little bit more time with this book thing. I think for other things like kanji and for lessons and for grammar reading and stuff like that, really you should take it in tiny, tiny, tiny bite-sized chunks. But I think you just need a little bit of a bigger chunk, for me at least, reading this book, because I like 1 page or 2 pages every other day is kind of not enough for me. Anyways, favorite Japanese words recently, Kalo?
We got a couple. We got is this nakunata?
Yeah, nakanata. Yep.
Nakanata. I don't remember where I heard that from, but it's like to is it to lose or to like or to disappear? What?
It's kind of disappear, yeah.
It's more like disappear.
Yeah.
Like
Nakushita is to lose.
Nakushita.
Yeah, nakushita, and it has the same kanji.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Nakusu is like that's the transitive verb, right? Like you are the one doing the losing. So nakushita is like I lost the whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see, like lose as the opposite of win. Is that what you mean?
No. That would be makeru. Like makechatta. Lose as in I lost something. I misplaced something.
Misplaced, yeah.
That's nakusu, yeah.
It's also Tokyo. which is cool. Learned the kanji for those
Tokyo.
recently.
Nice.
Technically haven't put them together yet. I don't think
Oh.
in Wanikani at least, but I see what they're doing. That is Tokyo, right? Like that's
Yeah. There's a lot of
okay.
those too. I found in Wanikani. Like you learn it way before you learn it outside of Wanikani before you learn it in Wanikani, and you get to it. Like arigato gozaimasu or whatever. It was in Wanikani, and I was like, everybody knows that, you know. But you learn the kanji for it.
Okay.
And you know, of course, if you're having conversations outside of your self-study, like you're actually having conversations with Japanese people, then you'll see it all the time. There's a lot of words like that you'll see all the time. But then you learn it through Wanikani and you're like, I already know this. But it's kind of cool because you look at it more, you know, closely in Wanikani, and you're actually looking at how the radicals are. So there's a lot of words that, for example, outside of Wanikani, I know when I read them because I use it in conversation all the time, but I'm not able to actually write it or whatever because I don't know the radicals. I'm just seeing it all the time, and I kind of, you know what it means in context. But then when I go to try to understand how to write it or whatever, I have no idea because I didn't learn it through Wanikani. Like I didn't learn the radicals. So what's your next one?
The next one is PD.
It's one of those.
It's one of those. What are they called?
Like onomatopoeic words.
Yeah,
I don't know what PD means.
According to this, it means like to tingle, to sting.
Oh, that's different than BD.
Yeah, PD.
What is PD? I've never heard that before.
PD.
I hear BD all the time.
I hear that too.
PD. Stinging, smarting. Why did I do a hard consonant T there? That's weird. Stinging, smarting, tingling, burning, on edge, nervous, tense, tripping. How is that different than BD?
When I look up BD, I get it's more of a. Oh wait, no, it says
feeling like an electric shark.
Ripping,
trembling.
Rattling.
Yeah, that's a.
So it's like
odd. PD. Stinging, smarting. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, quivering, trembling, on edge, nervous, tense.
They're so similar
burning.
too. It's funny.
Okay, that kind of makes sense to me. That's what I love about these Japanese onomatopoeic words, as you can kind of guess what it means just by the sound of it. Like PD. When you think of that, you think of like a prickly kind of like boo boo. I got boo boo on my arm. A little boo boo that's PD. Interesting.
Yeah, and then the last one is datara, which I feel like I hear a lot, but I never understood what it meant.
What does it mean?
And it means, well, according to this, if it's the case. So, so is it is it similar to like dakara? Because doesn't that mean?
Well, so datara is like you know we talked about the tara form of things. It basically just means if.
Yeah.
So like okitara if I wake up, tabetara if I eat. So basically dattara is just da. So you take the like some noun.
Yeah. So if someone was talking about something,
then tara. Yeah.
And then the noun was still implied.
Right, exactly. You can just say dattara. So if what you're saying is true, if what you're saying happens, if what you're saying is, then
gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize it could be used that way too.
You can also say like so dattara. So if you're talking, so basically I'm saying so dattara. So if I'm saying so dattara, kind of means so is like you, right? I'm talking to you. I'm talking about what you're saying. So I say so dattara. So what if what you're saying is true, if what you're saying happens, if what you're saying is, then I continue making my point. Yeah. The ko dattara is kind of weird because if you're saying dattara, you're it's kind of imply that you're talking to somebody. So if you say ko dattara, you're talking about something that you said, which is odd. So I think that so dattara is also really common. Dattara is really used frequently in conversation.
Nice. All right.
That's a good one. My words are I got one is hanpan, and it's just like fish cake. I don't know why I didn't remember this. But Judy made like yaki hanpan or something. It was fried fish cake, but it's really yummy. I just didn't remember hanpan. But I've seen it at the store, like frozen before. And I've read it and be like, oh, hanpan. There's like kamaboko, which is another like fish pound cake. And then there's hanpan, which is different. I guess I don't know the difference, but I'll have to look it up. But hanpan, it's kind of fun to say. The other word that I learned is kinugoshi doufu. So kinugoshi doufu is silken. It literally means silk. So kinu is like silk, I guess, or kinugoshi means silk. I'm not sure. So silken tofu. So silken tofu is soft tofu. And then there's another one that's like kimoku or something like that. Or not kimoku. There's the hard tofu, which is like kigoshi tofu. Let me go look it up.
Okay.
That one, it's just funny to me because like the other one means silken tofu. It's like, okay, soft. And then the other one is basically tofu like a tree. Then it's hard.
Tofu like a tree. Huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. Oh, man, I wish I had. I looked this up. Oh, I think I did look it up. 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I didn't put shamoji too. Shamoji is you know the little spoons that they use for scooping rice, the scooper out of a rice cooker or something.
Oh, wait,
So-
like the.
What?
Oh, never mind. I was trying to think.
So that anyways, that scooper is
Well,
called shamoji. And I had no idea what the name of it was for the longest time, and I asked Judy the other day. She's like, oh, shamoji. I was like, Actually, you know what? She said, could you get the shamoji for me, basically?
Oh.
Japanese. And then I was like, oh, what's shamoji? And then she said, no, I knew what she meant because she was like, I know through context because she's trying to get the rice out of the rice cooker. Shamoji motekte is I think what she told me. Then I was like, I don't know what she means, but shamoji is like. Then I asked her, kore shamoji nanda. Like I didn't know that, so I said, oh, this is shamoji. I forgot what it is. Just the rice scooper, the rice spoon.
Huh. I looked up the kanji for it, and
that's all katakana. Or sorry, hiragana. It's not typically used with hiragana, not kanji. The other words I have, I cannot find that stupid tofu. It's something like I'll have to look it up later. It's like tree tofu.
tree tofu.
Yeah. I task somebody to look it up for me. We need an assistant. Anyways, the next word I have is osaeru. And so Judy, the other day, Judy had a dream, and so I like just woke up, and she was sitting next to, or obviously sleeping next to me, and she said randomly, like she was having a dream, and she said, "Ne pato, osaete chanto," and she was just asleep, and she said that. She's like, "Ne pato, osaete chanto," and then I looked over, and I'm like, "What?" And then very soon after, she woke up and went to the bathroom, and then she came out of the bathroom, and she's like, I said something out loud, didn't I? And then I said, yeah. And then she said, so in my dream, Bella, our dog, was over in the living room, and she was like taking a video or something like that. So she was in the kitchen holding her phone and waiting for Bella to come, like chase her or whatever, like do something. So she was filming her, and then I was not holding our dog back. Like Bella was getting away from me. So osaete is like to hold back or to restrain.
Oh.
So Bella, she said that Bella kept coming toward her, and like coming into the kitchen, even though she was trying to do something. She was trying to like make, like a play. She was trying to do something, like hide and seek or whatever. Because we play hide and seek with her all the time, so I think that's what it was. She was playing hide and seek.
Oh, I see. That's fun.
Which also, by the way, hide and seek in Japanese is kakurembo. Which
Kakurembo?
Kakurembo, yeah. There's another word from, I got a lot of words here. There's another word from the anime that we just watched, the Dark and the Black episode 10.
Yeah.
It is sokubaku. So that means sokubaku means dude, I just forgot.
That's what it means? Dude, I forgot.
Dude, I forgot. Oh, that's right. It means restraining or like confining with rope.
Oh,
so binding. Shackles.
Yeah.
Shackles. The first kanji is like bundle, and the next one baku is bind. So yeah, it's like confining with rope. So I think this is the dude who could kill people with blood, like he has explosive blood.
Oh yeah.
That guy, he was saying that the friend of Kirihara who died, who he killed actually, was confined because of her parents and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's saying like sokubaku nantoka nantoka. The other word that I had down here, the last one, is izon, and it means dependent. So he kept saying the same thing too. He's like, because of her reliance on her parents. So like, oya no izon, nantoka nantoka nantoka. So her reliance, like dependence on her parents, caused her to become like this, because you are a cop and she relies on her parents who don't like cops because they're doing whatever. They're like yakuza mitana kanji. So yeah, that was a bunch of words. Hopefully some of them stood out, especially, did I say especially hanpen? Hanpen, which is fish cake. I want you to remember that. Hanpen's good, Sammy. All right, wall of shame words. Khalil, I see you got 2 different words.
I do. What do you think? I know you said it earlier, but I forgot.
No, I forgot. Look at your vocabulary word.
Vocabulary word.
Look at your vocabulary word.
Toe.
That's also really interesting. You have 63 and 63. So you have 63% meaning correct and 63% reading correct. So you basically, you sometimes remember it, you sometimes don't remember it.
Yeah, and then like to the same capacity.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I get them kind of mixed up sometimes.
With what?
With each other.
The meanings and readings?
Is the same. Yeah. Well, no. This is toe. This is east, right?
Yep.
Is this?
You got it.
See? What is that? It? See?
Say is west. Yeah.
That's west. Let's see. What is
North?
the vocabulary word for east? Is it toe?
For east is higashi.
Oh, I haven't learned that yet, so never mind.
Okay. That's like near me. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't got to that yet.
Gotcha.
So to, yeah, east. It's one of those things. I don't think the mnemonic really helps me. So
yeah, this sometimes not helpful for those. For these really, really common ones, sometimes the mnemonics suck. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But you'll see it all the time that it doesn't really matter. Sometimes they'll be like that. They'll be like, hey, you know Tokyo, so of course you know To. It's like, no.
So it's West Capital, right? Like the 2 kanjis, or East Capital.
East
Does that have other
Capital.
meaning?
What?
Or Kyo. So To is east.
Tokyo? Yeah.
Kyo
Yes.
like
Kyo is capital. Yep. There's no other meaning that I know.
Okay. Next word is Meikyoku, I think.
Yep.
It's like the reason why it says I'm getting it wrong is because I put in what I put in I think popular music instead of famous music.
No, add a synonym there because that's
Or they
exactly
did-
the same thing.
Yeah, but if we split hairs, they can be kind of different. Like famous
Yeah,
things are usually more what is
old.
it?
Like,
Yeah, they're usually older, while popular is more like, oh, this new popular song.
oh, like hayateru. Hayateru is like something that's becoming popular or trending.
Yeah.
Hayateru is like trending. Yeah.
So like have you I'm sure you've heard that phrase that
But honestly, though,
Meikyoku,
when
right?
you're so yeah, because I read that all the time. I don't really hear it too much, but I definitely read it, especially when you go to karaoke and in Japan, they'll have like
Oh,
meikyoku, which
it's
will
like a
which
category.
basically means popular, by the way.
Oh, I see.
So like when you're going through the menus of the karaoke machine, like tablet, basically, you'll see meikyoku, and you click meikyoku, and it just is popular songs, like the
Oh.
people are listening to.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see,
so
I
like
see.
there'll be recent songs like Justin Bieber and stuff.
So okay, I guess in this case it is the same, huh?
I think there's probably a nuance there, but I wouldn't get too much into the details. It just means like famous, popular.
Okay.
Yeah, the songs
I'll
that people
add
are
that
listening
into
to.
my blacklist then.
Blacklist.
Or whitelist? Whitelist, I think. For Wanikani.
Whitelist.
Yeah, where it's the words that I can throw in and it will still count as right.
Oh, your synonym. Yeah, your synonym section.
Cinnamon rolls, yeah.
Cinnamon rolls. What? Synonym rolls.
I'm so close. I feel like for the level progression, it's like you spend it because of the way they spread out everything, you're making progress on a whole bunch of little things at the same time. So the progress feels like you're making none, and then near the end it's just like boom, 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 boom. Everything's being completed, and then you move on. It's kind of a strange flow.
It almost feels like you want more wins along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that having the levels split up the way that they are is helpful. Like if there were no levels and you were just learning kanji until you died type of thing, and you never had a level, you never had those little wins along the way,
yeah,
that'd be awful. But I kind of agree. It'd be kind of nice if there was a little bit more. I think there's a couple of user scripts, like the ordering script or whatever, like the fast wanikani, where like in order to knock them out quicker, it'll show you it'll like reorganize the kanji. So you're not just receiving some random reading versus some random meaning, and it's just all jumbled together like how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in my opinion, I think it's all subjective, but I think that is a better way to learn for me, because you're just thrown a random kanji and you have to try to remember what it means.
Yeah.
So that for me is a little bit more effective at remembering, I think, than having it all in order for you, where it's just like kind of rote. Oh, I know this one again. Out of the 10 that I'm practicing right now, I know this one.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like, wah, random kanji. What does it mean? And then, you have to figure out what the reading is. And then 10 kanji later, the same kanji will come again. And you'll have to remember the reading. So it's not like meaning, reading. Sometimes it'll be meaning, different kanji, different kanji, different kanji, different kanji. And then it'll come back and it'll be like, now you have to put the meaning or reading or whatever.
Yep. No, I feel you. That's why in the beginning, which I kind of want to go back to, the Kaniwani.
No, Kaniwani.
I kind of want to do that a little more, but I was struggling so hard with it when I was doing it. It's so difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely weird, especially because there's a lot of synonyms for things.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're given in like an English, I think Kaniwani gives you a bunch of like the very specific dictionary definition, from what I understand,
and then it picks one, right?
Okay, but then often you'll like put in something and then it'll be wrong, and you're like, wait, but that's a similar meaning. Like that's just a different kanji. It's just a different vocabulary. It's just a different way to say it. So I don't know.
Because recall for me is kind of difficult. So if for me doing that would help.
Yeah. Like if you really want to expand your vocabulary when talking, I've tried that before, and I honestly don't even give crap anymore, because it doesn't really come up in normal conversation unless you're like a scholar. if you really care about your vocabulary and your sounding refined or whatever, then you can, like just like English, if you're using extremely difficult vocabulary that's just synonymous with words that you can use that are more common and kind of everyday speak, then sure, you'll sound more refined and educated and whatever, but it doesn't necessarily change the content of the conversation. It just sometimes makes it more confusing.
True. I'm still at the level where I'm learning a lot of basic words still, so it would be more useful to me, I think.
Oh, right, like in conversation. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because it doesn't come to
Yeah, and like sometimes in the previous conversations that we've had, like I can think of what I'm trying to say, but I just cannot remember the correct word I need to use.
And you know it. It's just doing the reverse of hearing something, understanding it, instead of being able to know what you want to say, so understanding it, but trying to speak it.
Yeah,
regurgitating that's hard. Yeah, it
is hard.
I understand. Yeah. In that case, then I think practicing would be great. Again, consuming a lot, like especially for conversation, listening to a lot of conversations, listening to a lot of anime, even if you don't understand it, just picking up the pieces that you do, try to follow it, continue your lessons. Honestly, the best thing you can do is try to have a conversation and like get through the awkwardness. And because that's how I got decent at speaking Japanese at all. It's just being with my in-laws and being in Japan with a bunch of people.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the best way to do it. But you should, if you have anything like any particular, like shows or media. I know you were talking about how you and Judy like the comedy. The
Manzai, yeah.
Manzai.
It's like comedy duos. There's a bunch of Sandwich Ma is one of our favorites. Her favorite since she was a little girl. Sandwich Men, they're pretty funny. They're pretty easy to understand too. They don't really have like super complicated vocabulary.
Are they a podcast, or is that what
they have a podcast too? Yeah, they have a podcast and actually take a lot of letters and stuff from fans abroad, which is funny. So there's a lot of people learning Japanese, like writing in Japanese, asking them questions and stuff.
I found their skits now. Yeah, the skits
are funny. Yeah, there's a bunch of other ones like Chocolate Planet is another group, Chocolate Planet, and they have a bunch of like memes basically that they've made. They're pretty funny. There's a lot of different groups. Akiyama is really funny. He's like he's kind of a YouTuber now, even though he's not. He's just a regular Japanese comedian, but he makes so many YouTube videos of like skits and stuff. He's very much what YouTube was back in the day. It's just so funny.
Oh man,
he's ridiculous. Actually, so funny thing about him, Judy and I saw a poster of him. So his thing is like he dresses up and he makes these skits where he is like a role. He's with a group too. He's a regular comedian, right? He has a group, him and his two other partnered comedians. But for the YouTube videos, at least, he'll dress up as somebody, and it's typically a female role because he has really long hair, and so he like wears a wig or whatever, and he'll be like, for example, a swimming coach, and then a female swimming coach, and then be like super strict, and it's just like hilarious. And then there's another one where he dresses up as like a little tiny boy, and then they make it so the camera makes him look like he's really, really small, and you go like Mama! And stuff like that. Super silly. And there's this one where he's like a baby in a diaper, and he's like, completely naked except for the diaper, and he's like trying to act like a newborn baby or something. It's amazing. So Akiyama, I'll look him up on YouTube. Really funny.
You got Sandwich Man.
Yeah, Sandwich Man.
Chocolate
Planet and
Chocolate
Akiyama.
Planet. Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Got some
very, very funny. I could put those in the notes
Oh,
too.
some
Maybe.
laughs. Oh yeah. Good idea.
Jules Tools podcast content. I'll put that in the notes. So Akiyama and Akiyama.
Aki.
And Sando Dweebz. Sando.
It's really hard to convert that way, isn't it?
Yeah, Choco Planet. Yep. Akiyama Sandwichman Choco Planet. Is the three that came to my mind. There's a lot though.
Mhm.
Honestly, if you just look up like Owarai is gaining. Sorry, did I just say is gaining? Is Japanese comedian. So gaining is like Owarai gaining is comedian. But if you just search Owarai, that will also show up like a bunch of Japanese comedians. Owarai gain, so gaining is like show. So geinokai is like show business. So gaining is somebody who's like in show business. So owarai gaining is somebody who's a comedian like in show business.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So anyways, my Welsh shame words. The first one is I may have forgot.
You know what it means though.
Which I have 100% for some reason. So what is it? What the heck does this mean? Okay. So we got the I just learned this the other day. We have stone, we have drop, we have rice paddy, we have it's tombstone. Yeah, that's right. Ha, got it. And then the reading for this, the reason I keep getting this wrong, I think the font is just different. That's why I'm getting a little bit weirded out. The reading for this is Ryo. So, but I have 50%. I have better read it once I know the meaning. Another reading, which is weird. But and then of course Kagayaku, which is going to stay there forever. So
one of these days it will be replaced.
Tombstone. Yeah, there's a couple other different kanji for tombstone, which is interesting. But that one, maybe not though. Actually, for the actual tombstone part, I think maybe this is a common one. I don't know. Level 56 and still learning a whole lot of crazy kanji.
A lot of content.
All right, let's get into the grant. Yeah, there's a lot of content. Also, I noticed that I'm kind of at the point where I think I'm receiving a bunch of new, as in not created by Koichi, Jared, words. I think that they hired somebody to, because the reason being is because all of the descriptions are a little bit different.
Yeah.
You like the same writer, and a lot of them contain emojis. Like before, there was no emojis, right?
Yeah.
But these newer words and stuff have emojis, so I don't know what's up with that.
Times are changing.
Times are changing.
You're growing.
Newest, what am I talking about? I'm off my game today. I'm tired.
Oh man.
Grammar lesson. So the grammar lesson today is sa.
Sa.
As in the ending that all the kids say. It's like ano sa, ano ne, konaida ne, konaida sa. Datte sa. I'm just kidding. That's a different way to basically it's the Japanese like is the way that people say sa. So we're not going to do that grammar lesson because we shouldn't teach that. But understanding, like hearing people, I say like all the time. That's my English sa.
Sa.
That's the point I'm trying to get at, is that people say that, even older people say that all the time. It is very similar to the English like. Which I also notice is in other languages. In Norwegian, it's liksom, which literally means like. And kids say it all the time. It's really funny. Anyway, sa. So sa, I'm sure you've heard it before, Khalil. I'm sure you know how to use it. There's a couple other uses that might not be familiar to you though. So basically, it is a way to add measurement to something, right? So if you have an e adjective, for example, like takai.
Yeah.
So takai is height or tall. You know, takai is tall or high. So for example, nedan ga takai. You're saying that the price is high. And you say, その崖は高い or その建物は高い. So the building is tall, or 崖 is cliff. So like the cliff is tall, it's high. You can say 背が高い. So the height of somebody is tall. Yeah. Then if you want to say like how tall, like どのぐらい高い? Somebody asks you, and you can say maybe this is kind of an odd response, but you could say, you probably just say the height, right? Oh, 180 cm is 180 centimeters. But if you wanted to say, you know, if you want to be really, really, really proper for some reason, you could say, oh, 彼の高さは. So that's saying his height. So height would be 高さ. So 高い, take off the e, you add sa to it, and it becomes the amount of tallness. So if you add sa to something, the end of a word, it becomes the measurement of that. So if you can also use this for other words like oishisa. Oishi is delicious, right? And you can say oishisa, and which is the amount of deliciousness, like the amount of goodness, the amount of tastiness. So yeah, and it's kind of hard. I'm trying to do my best to explain it into English, but it's very much sort of like a feeling. It's one of those things that you hear a lot and you try to use it, and then it becomes more and more understandable the more you use it. It is very hard to explain in English though, but it's pretty easy. You just add sa to the word, and then it changes it into the measurement of that. So
yeah, I think that's actually pretty straightforward for the most part.
I think it's pretty intuitive. It is hard to explain though. So let me just give a bunch of examples.
Yeah,
so takasa. Yeah, takasa was one of the examples. For example, bendy. Bendy is like easy to use, right? Convenient is another synonym for that. Bendy sa. So I gave two examples just now. So I said takai, which is the e adjective, which is an e adjective, which means high or tall. Bendy is a na adjective, which means it's just like a regular noun. And if you wanted, to, make that into an adjective, you'd add na to it. So you say, for example, bendy na kuruma. So bendy na is a convenient, and then kuruma is car. So, you wouldn't say bendy kuruma. You can kind of say that. It sounds more like a marketing term, though, something they put on, like a label. But to make it into an actual grammatically correct sentence, you'd say bendy na kuruma. That's called a na adjective. And you can make, this is a different lesson, but you can make any noun into a na adjective for the most part. So bendy is a noun, and it means convenientness, or rather just convenient, ease of use kind of thing. And then you add na to it, and then it becomes an adjective, and then you can use whatever noun after it. So you change bendy into the amount of convenientness. So convenientness would be bendy sa. The how convenient, like the amount of convenientness. Again, that sounds really weird to say in English, but hopefully that makes sense. So somebody would say in English, how convenient. And you might even say that in Japanese too, like donegurai bendy. Or you just even ask, bendy, is it convenient? And then bendy sa is just a different way to say that. It means, convenientness. There's another, you can do this with pretty much every verb and noun and every adjective, like an e adjective, for example. So for example, skayasui is easy to use, right? So yasui means cheap, but it can also, depending on the kanji, it can also mean like easy. So skayasui means easy, right? I think we had a previous lesson about this. Skayasui or yomiyasui or nomiyasui. You add yasui to the end of something, and it means easy to something something something.
Yeah.
So easy to use. Tsukai is the noun version of tsukao. Tsukao means to use. So tsukayasu is easy to use. To say in this article they have usability is the meaning of tsukayasusa. So tsukayasu, you take off the e, you add sa, and it becomes usability.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's a good. I mean, that is sort of like the literal translation of that. But another way to say that would be kind of how usable, the amount of usability, the amount of how easy to use it is. The amount of how easy to use it is. So again, that's not going to translate like word for word or whatever into a sentence. I'm just trying to explain the mechanics of that, though. It literally means the amount of that. And another way you can translate that is how easy to use is it. It's how easy to use it is. But I think that amount is what you should be thinking about when you see that. When you see sa at the end of a noun, or if you see at the end of like an e adjective, it means the amount.
Mm-hmm.
So takai, takasa, the amount of height, the amount of tallness. Bendy, sa, the amount of convenience. In this case, yeah, tsukayasusa, like the amount of how easy to use it is, or basically, that's a really hard thing to explain into English, but hopefully it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that's really, really cool. Oh, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, that first one, it seemed like looking at it was easy, and then when you added the little nuance into usability, it got a little complicated. But it makes sense.
That's what I'm trying to get out of our heads. Is it's not really that complicated. It's really not. So they made it, again, translating it into English. English, we use an entirely different word for that, which is annoying. In reality, in Japanese, it's not like an entirely different word. It's the same word. It's just changing the nuance a little bit.
Yeah.
You're saying that this is the amount of how usable it is, like how easy to use it is. So you're using that as like a subject, for example. Like, so I'll say, tsukayasusa wa sugoku ii. So I'm saying that the usability of this is terrific. It's great.
Okay. So you could also add the amount afterward.
What?
Like you could add, because I was wondering, so you can be like, so it's just like what you said, sugoku ii. You could describe the quality of like the usability, for example, the amount of use, the level of easiness it is to use. You can describe that, or you can place a value on it. Like if you're talking to somebody.
Yeah, right. So for example, if I was saying, ano yama no takasa wa sugosugite kowai.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like that mountain's tallness, how tall that mountain is, the amount of tallness of the mountain. So yama no takasa. So sa is the amount of tallness, right? So yama no, the mountain's amount of tallness. And I say takasugite, which I'm saying is really, really high. It's too high. Sugite means high. That was kind of a complicated sentence. I'll just say yama no takasa wa sugoi. So the amount of tallness of the mountain is amazing or incredible or...
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah, outstanding. So that's what I'm trying to... I'm not trying to directly translate it. I'm not trying to do that because this is not English is not Japanese. We have a little bit of a different way we say things. That's native. So I want to get that out of our heads that this isn't like a direct translation for how you say something. This is just how you should think about it in the Japanese context. Like putting on your Japanese lens, looking at this, this is how you should understand how it means. it's sort of like, the Japanese is, what I like about Japanese is there's full of like rules that actually stay, that are followed. Like in English, we have so many exceptions. We have so many different words for doing things. Like verb conjugations are so annoying in English because you have to basically remember a different word for everything.
Yeah.
In Japanese, it's just like the same form and then just a couple different irregular verbs and stuff, right? In Japanese, it's really simple. You just basically change the ending of something.
Yeah,
it's almost like it was engineered.
Right. It is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I was looking at the opposite pair section, and that's really interesting. How it's usually the upper one, or the more like bigness, or not bigness, like okisa size, but
Bigness.
it uses oki, which is big. And
Oki,
that is the
Okusa,
one. Yeah, and that's the one that's used to indicate size, while chisasa, which is only used for indicating smallness. And then
yes, I understand that for sure.
Yeah, so that's interesting how the bigger one is used to basically operate on a slider, and then same with quickness.
Same with quickness, same with takasa, like highness, right?
Yeah.
So
like it just means height.
Hikukusa, you wouldn't say that for like a general. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point in the article for sure.
For small things, right? Or for short things.
If you're just talking about like the general measurement, yes.
Yeah.
They're right. So, but if you're saying, hikui, right? It means low. If you're saying hikukusa is the lowness of something, then that's a good point. You'd only say hikukusa if you're talking about the lowness of something, not the
general
height. I guess the English is sort of similar, right? Like height. You're not saying the
you're not saying low
lowness, the loat, You're just talking about how high it is. It's usually like the upper bound, the bigger, the faster, you're not saying slower, like
you're
slowness
saying the speed
of something. You're saying the speed of it. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is kind of weird. I didn't actually think about that, but yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was like that in English too. Like you don't say the slowness is low.
The slowness is low. Yeah, you don't say that at all. You say like the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not very quick.
Or the expense is high or low,
The expense is high or low. The price, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, there's another thing that's really, really common too, which is saying like Thai, for example, how like you want to do something. You want something, right? So ikitai, like want to go. Ikitasa is how much you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or is the amount of wanting to go-ness.
Yeah.
Just the amount of that. And of course they have in English here as a direct translation, the eagerness to go. Again, I really don't want people to read this and think this is complicated. The reason it's complicated is because English is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese is not that complicated. So like the conjugations here, right? The verb iku. And then ikitai is I want to go. And then ikitasa is the amount of wanting to go. That's how I want people to think about it. It's just amount of whatever word you're talking about.
Right?
Don't try to translate it into English because it'll be even more confusing for you because English is confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Like this example, eagerness to go. To go, want to go, eagerness to go. It's really hard to remember if you're trying to translate it directly into English. I just want you to think amount of whatever this is.
Yeah.
And then it'll become a lot easier to understand. And it doesn't change either, right? Like omoi, omosa. So omoi is heavy, right? Omosa is heaviness. Translated in English, but another way to say that is just amount of heaviness.
Yeah.
Amount of heavy. You think, oh, I know what that means in English, but I don't have to know the exact English word to understand what this means. I just amount of heavy. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then fukai is depth, right? Like deep. Fukai is deep. So the amount of deep. 深さ. The amount of deep means depth. But again, depth is weird. Deep in depth. Like English is so confusing. But if you just think about it as the amount of deep, it's a lot easier to understand. You're like, oh, I know what that means. Just sounds like a kid talking to me. 難しい。難しさ. Again, the amount of difficulty. The amount of hardness. Not as in like solid objects, but difficulty. Again, I don't have to explain it further than that. I don't have to go how difficult or whatever. You should just say amount of difficulty. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. あの映画は面白みに欠けてる. So this is saying 面白み. I don't hear that much. But you're taking like 面白み is like interest, basically. Don't really worry about that too much. 欠けてる means to lack. So あの映画は面白さに欠けてる. That this is okay. By the way, this is the end of this. You know how they always go like beyond the basics at the end of these tofugu grammar articles, and so this is saying that like there's a little bit of a nuance when you're saying certain things. Like this is saying presenting subjective qualities as objective truths. So, you know, so like a subjective quality would be, for example, this movie isn't interesting to me. So that's my opinion, but it's like, but I'm saying that this movie is not interesting. So I'll say like, あの映画は面白みに欠けてる. Like this movie's lacking any interest to me. Like there's nothing about this movie that's interesting to me. It's lacking anything that's interesting to me. But if you say that with sa, you're saying this movie. So if you say あの映画は面白さに欠けてる, you're saying it like generally. So that's just some. This honestly, this point in the article, don't focus on that. This is really, really, really nitty gritty. If you really want to learn more, I don't hear this too much, to be honest. I'm sure it comes up in certain examples, especially like in books and stuff. But this is a weird thing to say in general, even in English. The movie, this is weird. Oh, they have a typo in the article. The movie is lacking an element that intrigues me. How often do you hear somebody say that in English?
Never.
The movie is lacking any interesting elements to everyone. Well, that's in parentheses, but so they would probably just say the movie is lacking any interesting elements.
We would just say like
this movie sucks.
It sucks. Yeah, or boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tsumana is the same exact thing in Japanese. They're never going to say something like this. If you say something like this, you sound like some, you know, Square or Tool or something.
Dang.
No, seriously though, because like nobody says anything like that. So they're trying to make a point though. They're trying to make a point that there's a little bit of a nuance behind like the me form, which is sort of your own feeling, versus sa, which is sort of an objective amount. And you're kind of saying it as fact. So, but you can still say like muzukashisa. But that's a feeling though, and it's sort of subjective, right? Like how difficult something is to you might not be the same for somebody else, but you're stating it sort of as fact. Like test no muzukashisa wa yoso desu. Which yoso de, okay, this is also more difficult example sentence, but yoso desu is like imagining or speculating. And so you're saying like test no muzukashisa wo yoso de suru. You know, I'm imagining how difficult the test is. I don't really like this sentence. I would say something like yeah, again, さっきのテストの難しさはすごかったよね. It's like, but again, you could also just say like 難しかった But if you want to be a little bit more specific, like you want to say it a different way, you could just say, you know, the difficulty of that test was incredible, right? Yeah. So it's, again, just for the soft form, think of the amount of something, the amount of difficulty, the amount of heavy, the amount of tall. Don't overthink it too much.
Yeah.
It's just the amount of blah. Or even just think of it as blah, blah, blah amount. So, you know, heavy amount, tall amount, just to make it, you know, easy to just replace sa with amount in your head and think, you know, if I understand what that means, tall amount, great, done. Don't even think about tall, like, ikitasa, right? Ikitai, want to go. Ikitasa, want to go amount. Great, I understand what that means. Don't go eagerness to go. Okay, now I understand. Because then if you're reading a book, or if you're reading something, or if you're listening to something, you're gonna think way too hard about that. Like, what is the English translation for that? You know?
Yeah.
I know I'm just like hammering that in, but only because I don't want people to be super confused that that's really simple concept. It's not that difficult. Cool. Okay, story time, and then we'll do a quick. Do you want to do a conversation practice? This story is really short, so let me just get through it.
Yeah, we could do a short one about the story again. I liked
okay,
that the last
sounds good.
time.
Yeah. Cool. And then you can start that off and ask some questions about it. Oh, I like this story already.
Oh my god.
Lady Gaga needs a heart. 今日はハワイに行った。This is why I like the story. レイディ・ガーガ先生は心臓を買ってくださいと言ったけど、私はハワイの心臓を買わなかった。ハワイの心臓は小さいから。小さい心臓が好きじゃない。レイディ・ガーガ先生は女の人だから小さい心臓が好き。私は男の人だから小さくない心臓が好き。メキシコは小さくない心臓があったからメキシコに行った。でも今日はお金がなかったから買わなかった。悲しかった。お金がないから心臓を盗んだ。オバマの心臓を盗んだ。でも、レディー・ガガ先生はお金がなかったから、オバマの心臓をレディー・ガガ先生にあげなかった。レディー・ガガ先生は死んだ。終わり。That's the end of the story. Wow, this is a very, very, very sad story. Okay, this is a teacher, like a Japanese teacher in a public school, I think, writing stories about stealing the president's heart.
And a lot of death and unhappiness.
There's always a lot of death, which is fun for an elementary school Japanese class. I don't think this is actually Japanese. I mean, elementary school is probably like college or something.
That would kind of make more sense, honestly, or a high school at least.
Yeah, maybe it is high school. So 始めようか、会話。
何？
始まりましょうか。
Oh, hi. Kawana kata ちょっと難しい。
難しい？
はい。
買わなかった？
買わなかった。
の意味？
はい、意味は何ですか？
買うことはしなかった。買うことはしませんでした。
買う。
買います。
はい。買
わなかった。
はい。
買いませんでした。
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 話し
敬語だったら買いませんでした。でも普通の会話の普通の日本語は買わなかったっていう。買わなかった。でもちょっとなんか、尊敬語を使ってたら買いませんでした。
はい。
それはなんか、丁寧、パライ
はい。
の
はいはい。
日本語は変えませんでしたっていう。でも普通の日本語は変わらなかったっていう。
はいはい。なんで、レイディー・ガガをなんで
なんでだろうね。レディー・ガガ、なんでレディー・ガガの名前があるんだろうな。
レイディー・ガガは先生な、なん、あ、
なんで先生になったんだろうな。何の先生？
はい、
どんな先生？ポ
はい、
ーカーフェイスの先生かな。
ポーカー。
なんか、ポーカーの先生かな。そうそうそう。どうだろうね。
ああ、そう。
ちょっと不思議だな。
はい。
あと、このなんか、話のホームページの上の写真がなんか絵じゃん。誰かが描いた絵。こうやってやってるじゃん。で、目がすごい黒い。
はい、目が、
すごい黒い。
目が上、手の上、目がいます。
目が今、目の前に手
はいはい
が
はい。
あって、手が持ってるよね。
はい。
でも
怖い。
目がすごい黒いね。すごい。
すごい黒い。
あのね、ちょっと
あ
ね、でもなんで急にオバマの話になったんだろうな。オバマの心臓を盗んだ。
はい、オバ
だ
マの
からオバマが死んじゃったから、でも書いてないけど。
はい、オバマの心臓大きさは何な、
オバマの心臓を盗んだ。
盗
オ
んだ。
バマの心臓をレディー・ガガ先生にあげなかった。えなんだっけ、この人、書いてる私はハワイの心臓を買わなかった。この書いてる人の話。オバマの心臓をレディー・ガガ先生にあげなかった。だからその心臓を持ってる人がレディー・ガガにあげなかった。自分が欲しいからオバマの心臓。書いた人が欲しい。
なぜ
なんでだろうね。オバマ、健康かな、元気だからかな。なんか元気な心臓。
はい。
元気な心臓があるから。健康の。
でも、あ、はいはい。小さい心臓が好きじゃない。オ
小さい
バマさん。
心臓好きじゃない。でも、レディー・ガガが好きじゃん。
はい。
レディー・ガガが好きだから、なんか問題だね。メキシコには小さくない心臓があったからメキシコにいた。でも今日はお金がなかったから買わなかった。悲しかった。もうすごい適当の話だね、これ。適当な話。
適当
適当の意味は、haphazard。haphazard か、なんか、あんま意味ない。あんま意味ない。もう、好きなようにしてる。プランがないでやってる。
はいはい。
プランがないでやってる。プランがないで書いてる。全然意味ないの話。
英語、wing it?
win? wing it, wing it.
wing it.
そうそうそうそう。wing it かな。英語で。そうそうそうそう。ありがとう。
はいはい。
ありがとう、その説明し方。wing it。そうそうそう。適当にやる。適当にやるって言ったら wing it かな。wing it。
はい。
just winging it! じゃあ終わりにしましょうか、この会話。
はいはいはい。
はい。 じゃあ、おしまい。
Oshimai.
Very short story.
It was. It was very aggressive too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put some. I'll put the some videos of Akiyama, Sandwich Ma, and Choco Planetto in the description of this video
Very nice.
to help. Hopefully, that will get people watching some Japanese comedians because they're really funny. Even if you don't understand exactly what they're talking about, there's a lot of stuff going on you can watch. And there's normally on Japanese TV, there's pretty much always there's hiragana and kanji and katakana and everything is just like always written onto the video. And so even if you don't have subtitles for the YouTube video or whatever, you'll basically have subtitles throughout the entire video because they just do it like as a way for everybody to understand, and it's just common with it on any Japanese TV. So yeah, you can like kind of read and watch at the same time, which is really helpful for learning.
Okay.
Cool.
Very nice.
I don't know why I keep yawning. I think it's because my lack of sleep the other day.
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's end this baby.
All right.
Ready? Thank you for listening, guys. Stay tuned
yes.
for next week and some sprinkling of videos throughout the week too. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. Stay tuned for that. Let's end this bad boy.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching.
2、1。
バーバキンブー。
だね。